everyone, this is Josh with SKAA, and in this video I want to talk about latency and show you what different latencies sound and look like to give you an idea of whether you can actually sense these latencies or not. In wireless audio tech like SKAA, latency is the processing delay time it takes for a transmitter to send audio over to a receiver. With SKAA, we have two modes, SKAA and SKAA Pro. SKAA allows you to send audio to up to 4 receivers simultaneously at 36 milliseconds of fixed latency. This includes SKAA smart transmitters like Cassandra for USB-C devices, Ursula for USB-A devices, and Diz for older iPhones and iPads with Lightning connectors. 36 milliseconds is already very fast when you compare it to Bluetooth, for instance, which can give you up to 200 milliseconds of latency, and it can be even more than that when using multiple receivers. And don't even get me started with Wi-Fi audio, which can have latencies ranging from 250 milliseconds up to 2000 milliseconds. That's a quarter of a second to 2 seconds of latency. With a SKAA Pro transmitter like Danny, you can send audio to up to 2 receivers at a blazing fast 19 milliseconds of fixed latency, and Danny can be switched over to standard SKAA mode if you need more receivers. So these extremely low latencies make SKAA perfect, not just for home audio or playing music at a party, but also for professional applications like live sound, DJing, live music performance, event audio, weddings, or if you're doing an AV installation where you need audio and video to be in sync. So what I'll do next is I'll give you 4 examples of different latencies. I'll delay my audio coming into my microphone by 19 milliseconds, 36 milliseconds, 200 milliseconds, and 1000 milliseconds, representing SKAA Pro, SKAA, Bluetooth, and Wi-Fi. Although Bluetooth and Wi-Fi actually have variable latency, and that's obviously a little iffy for pro audio applications if you can't rely on the latency to be fixed. Now, to make this a fair comparison, when you listen to these examples, try to do so either directly from your device's built-in speakers or with wired headphones, because any wireless device you add is going to add an additional latency to these examples. I do have a confession to make though. This entire time you've been hearing my voice delayed from the video by 19 milliseconds. Were you able to hear it? Probably not. For most people, 19 milliseconds is imperceptible or barely perceptible. If you're a seasoned studio musician or DJ, you might be able to sense it a little bit more than the average listener, but this lightning fast 19 milliseconds makes SKAA Pro perfect for pro audio applications where you don't want to deal with long cable runs. And it's also great when you need audio and video to stay in sync. Next up is 36 milliseconds of latency. Again, this is our standard mode for SKAA transmitters. 36 milliseconds is likely going to be barely perceptible for most people, again with studio musicians and DJs being an exception, unless you're doing some extremely precise scratching, button presses, or fader or knob turns. SKAA mode will generally work just fine for some pro audio applications, and it's especially great when you need to play audio to a larger audience by tapping into 4 simultaneous receivers. Things like speaking engagements, seminars, lectures, parties, weddings, dance recitals, live sound, and more. Next up is 200 milliseconds of latency. This is what you can expect with Bluetooth, which is why when you use a Bluetooth soundbar or headphones, sometimes the video you're watching may look out of sync with the audio. I think just about everyone can sense 200 milliseconds of latency. We're talking about 1/5 of a second. Not great for any sort of pro audio application or AV installation. It's really only usable for listening to music with a portable speaker or headphones. And this is because Bluetooth was not made for audio like SKAA is. Bluetooth not only gives you lower audio quality than SKAA, you also only get around a 7-meter range for Bluetooth audio, whereas most SKAA devices have a 15-meter to 50+ meter range. And this last example is going to be painfully obvious. 1000 milliseconds of latency, that's a full second of latency. And with Wi-Fi, you can get up to 2000 milliseconds of latency depending on your setup. This is why Wi-Fi audio is really only usable for listening to music in your home. You wouldn't want to use it for almost any pro audio application because of that latency. And not only does it have massive latencies, it's also not portable because you need a Wi-Fi network to send the audio. So those are 4 examples of latency. What latency were you able to perceive? Were you able to sense latency at 19 milliseconds or 36 milliseconds, or was it only perceptible at 200 milliseconds? I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. If you want to learn more about SKAA, head over to SKAA.com or SKAAstore.com to see all of our available consumer and professional wireless audio products. And if you like what you see, please give us a thumbs up and subscribe to the SKAA Sound YouTube channel to stay up to date on all new SKAA products. Thanks for watching.